In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, amen. The Mass is for the Epiphany. There will be benediction after Mass for the first Friday, and the consecration to the Sacred Heart of Jesus for the regular First Friday devotions. There's a new schedule. There's no Mass, as you see, for tomorrow for the first Saturday. Fortunately, we don't have a Mass for the first Saturday, so you have to make the first Saturday devotions in private, or you can come here and make them here if you like. And, yes, so there is a schedule for the Masses for next week. The epistle for the Feast of the Epiphany is from the book of Isaiah the prophet. Arise, be enlightened, O Jerusalem, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and a mist the peoples. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall walk in thy light, and kings in the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thy eyes round about and see, all these are gathered together, they are come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall rise up at thy side. Then shalt thou see and abound, and thy heart shall wonder and be enlarged, when the multitude of the sea shall be converted to thee, the strength of the Gentiles shall come to thee. The multitude of the camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Saba shall come, bringing gold and frankincense, and showing forth praise to the Lord. Please stand for the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judah in the days of King Herod, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to adore him. When King Herod, hearing this, was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling together all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where Christ should be born. But they said to him, In Bethlehem of Judah, for so it is written by the prophet, And thou Bethlehem, the land of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come forth the leader that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, privately calling the wise men, learned diligently of them the time of the star which appeared to them, and sending them into Bethlehem said, Go and diligently inquire after the child, and when you have found him, bring me word again, that I also may come and adore him. Who having heard the king went their way, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, until it came and stood over where the child was. And seeing the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And entering into the house, they found the child with Mary his mother, and falling down they adored him, and opened their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having received an answer in sleep that they should not return to Herod, they went back another way into their own country. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So our Lord, we have to remember that when our Lord came into the world, everywhere was darkness. There was darkness everywhere. There was no knowledge of God, very little knowledge of God. And he came to be the light of the world, and the light of the whole world. And these kings saw the light. They saw the light, and they followed. They saw this mysterious star, and they followed the star. They had prophecies. They had obviously their own prophecies that about a king to be born in Israel that they should adore and they should honor. And so they followed the star to Jerusalem to honor him. And they were the first of the Gentiles to believe in our Lord Jesus Christ and to accept him. So immediately upon being born, he started calling others, and he showed he was not here only for Israel, but for all the whole world, to be king of the whole world, to be king of the kings. Well, all these other kings, he was going to be their king, and they understood that. These kings, they said, we adore him as a great king. So this is what our Lord came, and he came and he brought light through the whole world. So when these kings went home, of course, they prepared their nations, they prepared their peoples to receive our Lord Jesus Christ whenever he would come to them. And they were ready when the apostles came to them to convert, and they were all ready for conversion. They already knew about our Lord. And we know that the apostles converted millions of people very quickly. Very quickly they converted people from all over the world in all different nations. And so, yes, they converted these nations, were prepared somehow, and maybe other nations were also somewhat prepared for our Lord by their own prophecies and their own understanding that there would be somebody coming to redeem them. So these nations did convert, and of course the light from our Lord then eventually spread over the whole world, and the whole world became Christian, became servants of Christ. We have what they call Christendom, where our Lord was indeed king, and where it was a place of great light because it had the supernatural light of the faith, the supernatural light of truth everywhere in these places. And so this is what Christendom it was. But now again, because of the failure of the guardians of the faith, the failure of those whose mission was to guard the faith, to keep the light burning, keep the flame of light lit, well, it's gone out in many places, and darkness again covers the whole world. So we're back in the time of darkness again. It's a darker darkness than it was before our Lord came, because the darkness before our Lord came was somewhat it was a supernatural darkness, but it was without guilt. But now we have a darker darkness because we are among those people who have rejected the light. We say we don't want this light, and we've deliberately made efforts to snuff it out and darken it again, and say, look at the darkness and say, well, we like the dark side of the street, we like the dark side of life, we like the way those people in the darkness live, and we prefer to live in the darkness than in the light. And so our time is more corrupt than the time of the kings. But we have to ask our Lord again to spread this light through the world. And we know that He's going to do it through the Blessed Virgin Mary. He's going to spread this light this time through the Blessed Virgin Mary. His mother is going to be the light bearer and bring the faith again everywhere. So we have to pray to her. We have to be devoted to her. We have to trust in her and think that, yes, have confidence that this darkness will be again dispelled by the light of the gospel and by the light of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So let's pray to her and ask that as the kings recognized our Lord in the crib, in the manger, and said, this is a king, even though he was in a poor place and didn't look like a king, it wasn't dressed like a king, but they recognized him as truly the King of Kings. Well, let's hope that the King of Kings will again be recognized by men, and his light will again spread through the world. So we have to pray and do penance for that. And this is what Our Lady asks of us at this time. So our age is an age of prayer and penance, an age of darkness, an age where we have to try to make little sparks of light everywhere, so there's at least some sparks, at least some glimmers of light here and there. This is what we have to pray, that these glimmers grow and they enkindle the whole world, and it just spreads as like a big bushfire. We want it to start out maybe with we throw our cigarette down on the ground, and then all of a sudden there's a bushfire, and the whole world gets inflamed with light. So that's what we want to do that. We want to start fires like that, and we want to start a fire of the faith like that. So we need to be energetic and fighting for the faith, and enthusiastic for our Lord, and be willing to say, yes, I want to make these sacrifices to serve Him faithfully and serve Our Lady faithfully, that we might be useful instruments for them in propagating the faith.